Hi everyone. So I was reading Codependent No More and I just was like speechless with how good the stuff that I was reading, like the content was. So I wanted to share that with you today, if you don't mind. So the chapter that stood out to me was chapter 10, which is Live Your Own Life. It's not super long, so I'm gonna hopefully read it all for y'all. If I make one point in this book, I hope it is that the surest way to make ourselves crazy is to get involved in other people's business, and the quickest way to become sane and happy is to tend to our own affairs. I have discussed concepts and ideas pertaining to that thought. We've examined reactions typically of codependency. We've discussed ways of learning how to react differently using detachment. One moment. I remember the day I faced that truth. For a long time, I had blamed my unfortunate circumstances on other people. You are the reason. I am the way I am, I had screeched. Look what you made me do with my minutes, my hours, my life. After I detached and took responsibility for myself, I wondered maybe other people weren't the reason I hadn't been living my own life. Maybe they were just the excuse I needed. My destiny, my todays, and tomorrows looked pretty glum. Living our lives may not be an exciting prospect to some of us either. Maybe we've been so wrapped up in other people that we've forgotten how to live and enjoy our lives. We may be in so much emotional distress, we think we have no life. All we are is our pain. That's not true. We are more than our problems. We can be more than our problems. We will be more than our problems. Just because life has been this painful so far doesn't mean it has to keep hurting. Life doesn't have to hurt so much, and it won't if we begin to change. It may not be all roses from here on out, but it doesn't have to be all thorns either. We need to and can develop our own lives. As one friend says, get a life. Some codependents think a life with no future, no purpose, no great shakes, and no great breaks isn't worth living. That's not true. Either I believe God has existing, exciting, interesting things in store for each of us. I believe there is an enjoyable, worthwhile purpose besides taking care of people and being an appendage to someone for each of us. I believe we tap into this attitude by taking care of ourselves. We begin to cooperate. We open ourselves up to the goodness and richness available in us and to us. Throughout this book, I have used the phrase taking care of ourselves. I have heard the phrase used and abused. I have heard people use it to control, impose upon, or force their wills on people. Dropped in, uninvited with my 5 kids and cat, we're going to spend the week. I'm just taking care of myself. Have the phrase used manipulatively to justify persecuting and punishing people. Instead of dealing appropriately with angry feelings, I'm going to holler and scream at you all day because you didn't do what I wanted you to do. Don't get mad at me though, I'm just taking care of myself. I've heard people use these words to avoid responsibility. I know my son is up in his bedroom shooting heroin, but that's his problem. I'm not gonna worry. I'm going to the store and charge $500, and I'm not going to worry about how I'll pay that either. I'm just taking care of myself. Those behaviors are not what I mean by taking care of ourselves. Self-care is an attitude towards ourselves and our lives lives that says, I am responsible for myself. I am responsible for leading or not living my life. I am responsible for tending to my spiritual, emotional, physical, and financial well-being. I am responsible for identifying and meeting my needs. I am responsible for solving my problems and learning to live with those I cannot solve. I am responsible for my choices. I am responsible for what I give and receive. I am also responsible for setting and achieving my goals. I am responsible for how much I enjoy life, for how much pleasure I find in daily activities. I am responsible for whom I love and how I choose to express this love. I am responsible for what I do to others and for what I allow others to do to me. I am responsible for my wants and desires. All of me, every aspect of my being is important. I count for something. I matter. My feelings can be trusted. My thinking is appropriate. I value my needs. My wants and needs I do not deserve and will not tolerate abuse or constant mistreatment. I have rights, and it is my responsibility to assert these rights. The decisions I make and the way I conduct myself reflect my high self-esteem. My decisions will take into account my responsibilities to myself. My decisions will also take into account my responsibilities to other people, my spouse, my children, my relatives, my friends. I will examine and decide exactly what these responsibilities are as I make my decisions. I will also consider the rights of those around me, the right to live their lives as they see fit. I do not have the right to impose on others rights to take care of themselves, and they have no right to impose on my rights. Self-care is an attitude of mutual respect. It means learning to live our lives responsibly. It means allowing others to live their lives as they choose, as long as they don't interfere with our decisions to live as we choose. Taking care of ourselves is not as selfish as some people assume it is, but neither is it as selfless as many codependents believe. In the chapters that follow, we will discuss some specific ways of taking care of ourselves, goal setting, dealing with feelings, working a 12-step program, and more. I believe taking care of ourselves is an art, and this art involves one fundamental idea that is foreign to many: giving ourselves what we need. This may be a shock to us in our family systems at first. Most codependents don't ask for what we need. Many codependents don't know or haven't given much thought to what we want and need. Throughout this book, I have used and will use the terms needs and wants interchangeably. I consider wants and needs important, and I would treat these terms with equal respect. Many of us have falsely believed our needs aren't important and we shouldn't mention them. Some of us even begin to believe our needs are bad or wrong, or we've learned to repress them and push them out of our awareness. We haven't learned to identify what we need or listen to what we need because it didn't matter anyway. Our needs weren't going to get met. Some of us haven't learned how to get our needs met appropriately. Giving ourselves what we need is not difficult. I believe we can learn quickly. The formula is simple. In any given situation, detach and ask, what do I need to do to take care of myself? Then we need to listen to ourselves and to our higher power. Respect what we hear. This insane business of punishing ourselves for what we think, feel, and want, this nonsense of not listening to who we are and what ourselves are struggling to tell us, must stop. How do you think God works with us? As I've said before, no wonder we think God has abandoned us. We've abandoned ourselves. We can be gentle with ourselves and accept ourselves. We're not only or merely human. We were created and intended to be human, and we can be compassionate with ourselves. Then perhaps we may develop true compassion for others. Listen to what our precious self is telling us about what we need. Maybe we need to hurry and get to an appointment. Maybe we need to slow down and take the day off work. Maybe we need to exercise or a nap. We might need to be alone. We may want to be around people. We may need a job. Maybe we need to work less. Maybe we need a hug, a kiss, or a back rub. Sometimes giving ourselves what we need means giving ourselves something fun. A tree, a new hairdo, dress, a new pair of shoes, a new toy, an evening at the theater, or a trip to the prom. Sometimes giving ourselves what we need is work. We need to eliminate or develop a certain characteristic. We need to work on a relationship, or we need to tend to our responsibilities to other people, or to our responsibilities to ourselves. Giving ourselves what we need does not only mean giving presents to ourselves, it means doing what's necessary to live responsible and not an excessively responsible or an irresponsible existence. Our needs are different and vary from moment to moment and day to day. Are we feeling this crazy anxiety that goes with codependency? Maybe we need to go to an Al-Anon meeting. Are our thoughts negative and despairing? Maybe we need to read a meditation or inspirational book. Are we worried about a physical problem? Maybe we need to go to a doctor. Are the kids going wild? Maybe we need to figure out a family plan for discipline. Are people stomping on our rights? Set some boundaries. Are our stomachs churning from it with emotions? Deal with our feelings. Maybe we need to detach, slow down, make an amend, do an intervention, initiate a relationship, or file for divorce. It's up to us. What do we think we need to do? Besides giving ourselves what we need, we begin to ask people for what we need and want from them, because this is part of taking care of ourselves and being a responsible human being. Giving ourselves what we need means we become, as the Reverend Phil L. Hansen suggests, our personal counselor, confidant, spiritual advisor, partner, best friend, and caretaker in this exciting new venture we have undertaken, living our own lives. The Reverend Hansen is nationally active in the addiction field. We base all our decisions on reality, and we make them in our best interest. We take into account our responsibilities to other people, because that is what responsible people do. But we also know we count. We try to eliminate shoulds from our decisions and learn to trust ourselves. If we listen to ourselves and our higher power, we will not be misled. Giving ourselves what we need and learning to live life self-directed. Learning to live self-directed lives requires faith. We need enough faith to get on with our lives, and we need to do at least a little something each day to begin moving forward. As we learn how to take care for, and meet our own needs, we forgive ourselves when we make mistakes, and we congratulate ourselves when we do well. We also get comfortable doing some things poorly. And some things with mediocrity, for that is part of life too. We learn to laugh at ourselves and our humanity, but we don't laugh when we need to cry. We take ourselves seriously, but not too seriously. Ultimately, we may even discover this astounding truth. Few situations in life are ever improved by not taking care of ourselves and not giving ourselves what we need. In fact, we may learn most situations are improved when we take care of ourselves and tend to our needs. I am learning to identify how to take care of myself. I know many people who have either learned or are learning to do this too. I believe all codependents can. Activity. As you go through the days ahead, stop and ask yourself what you need to do to take care of yourself. Do it as often as you need to, but do it at least once daily. If you are going through a crisis, you may need to do it every hour. Then give yourself what you need. 2. What do you need from the people around you? At an appropriate time, sit down with them and discuss what you need from them. I just had to share that chapter with y'all because it just really resonated with me. So thank you for letting me share that with you.